So, the car arrived. Finally. I mean, it arrived like a month ago. So, where should I start? Last video, if you haven't watched it, go look it up, because you won't know what the fuck I'm talking about. The last video when I uploaded it, the car was being transported from New Jersey to Germany. After all the problems we had in the States, it was supposed to be really easy, but it wasn't, of course, and it almost turned out to be a disaster. What happened was the guy who organized the transport from Bremerhaven in Germany to my place in Croatia, he didn't give the truck driver a list of exact list of what is supposed to be, of what he's supposed to pick up. So when the driver arrived there, they gave him the two cars that were in the container with my half a car, and they gave him only my car parts, not half the car. Since the driver didn't have a list of what exactly he's gonna get, he was actually calling my buddy to give him shit for not letting him know that there would be small car parts, which now he doesn't have anywhere to put because he went there with an open trailer. So my buddy suggested to put those smaller parts into my half a car and just cover it up somehow. And that's where the driver went like, well, what half the car? There's no half a car. You know, we started sending emails like, what the fuck's going on? Because we hired a company to do all the work, all the paperwork and organization, everything within the port for us. Because, you know, we just wouldn't be able to do all that. We would have to physically go up there and do it ourselves. So they sent an email the next day. So the driver was already ready to leave the port when he called. So he had to wait there until the morning. It was already close to evening when he called. It was pissing rain for days. It was bad, and I got an email the next morning from the company saying like, oh, sorry, we forgot the half a car in our storage in our warehouse. How the fuck you forget half a car? But okay, whatever. After that, they gave him the car. He had to unload everything he loaded. They had to go through everything again, check everything, weigh everything, and then they send him out. It was a real pain. The guy arrived then in Croatia. My mechanic didn't have enough space on his yard at that point, so we just unloaded the truck at a buddy's place. So after a couple of days, he delivered the car to my mechanic when he made room, in his yard. Initially, there was supposed to be a forklift to help us unload the car. There was no forklift in the morning. The guy just disappeared. He went somewhere. We couldn't get him on the phone. So we tried unloading it in different ways. None of them worked. Everything the guys tried, it would have damaged the engine. Fortunately, another neighbor showed up with a forklift, helped us get the car off the trailer. The car's been here for a month now. I've been dismantling it whenever I had time, whenever it wasn't pissing rain outside, because it's November. And yeah, every spare minute I was there to tear everything apart. So this, because I had another shipping hookup lined up for beginning of November that would ship my parts out, so I could save on shipping costs. So I had to dismantle everything as soon as I can to know what additional parts I needed, so I could order them and get them to my forwarding company in time. So that's what I've been doing, and that's why I haven't followed up with the video sooner. I'm sorry for that. So yeah, car's here. I got a lot of junk parts. I got a couple of okay parts. I will show you a really shitty video right now of what I actually got with the car, because I had to store all the parts in my little storage area where I don't even have a light in there. So it's a really shitty video, but it will give you an idea of what I ended up receiving So take a look at that. One piece aluminum drive shaft, which is fucked up, as you can see, hopefully. Wait a second. It's all messed up. At one point, that's on the other side. See this? You can see how dented it is. Well, because of this here, the whole thing is trash. I can just throw it away. It's vibrating, so no good. Other than that, it's a perfectly fine drive shaft. Rocker panels, a fucked up driver's seat. I only kept it because of the electronics in there, because mine's about to give up. Centerpiece, center console, probably trash. X-pipe, it's dented here and here as well. I'll see if I can get it fixed. I don't plan on using it, but if I can get it fixed, I might have it sandblasted, coated, and I'll sell it to someone, because someone will surely need an X-pipe. I'm gonna go H-pipe. Here's the plastic from my car, actually from underneath the car, because I made a custom splitter, so I don't need it anymore. Driver door, that one's good. Rear seats, this and this. Fuel tank, which is great because I have a fuel pump in here, so I can change out the actual fuel pump at home, so that will save me time when back in the shop. I can just swap it, swap the new fuel pump for mine. What's this? Center console part as well. That's the cup holder, I believe. What else? Over axles and muffler delete. Another piece of plastic, and that's about it. That's what came with the car. And right, and the rear axle's outside. I gotta get it sandblasted, and I gotta paint it. But yeah, right. Heat shield and Brembo brakes, OEM Brembos. So these will go in the car as well. Steeda short throw shifter. That one will be for sale. If you guys need any of these parts, just let me know. I'll sell most of them anyways. And from what I figured out, shipping from Croatia to the States actually isn't really bad. I shipped the drive shaft to the United States, and it was $75. So for the smaller parts, I can ship them over to you, and shipping shouldn't be bad. Larger parts, obviously, I won't ship. I forgot these. They are Ford Star F14 wheels. The rear ones are, I believe, 10.5 or 11, 19 inch, and the fronts are 19 by, I think, 9 or 8.5. Fronts are okay, rears are busted. This one has bad curb rush, but I think this one can be saved. But the other one is just broken to pieces, so no good. So yeah, those are the parts I got. Now, I will briefly go through for anybody who wants to do this type of thing, maybe from Europe, thinking about doing the same thing. I'll just give you a summarization of what went down and what you can expect. Now, the main issue I had was that the car, first and foremost, it wasn't in a movable state. Now, try to avoid that. It will cost you a lot of money. So that was the first thing. Second thing, the car didn't have a title. It couldn't be shipped out of. I apologize. It couldn't be shipped out of the States because of that. Sorry again. So these are the two main things. Make sure the car has a title, any type of title, so you can get it out of the States legally. Or you won't be able to get it out at all. You'll have to cut it in half and make it for parts like I did, which sucks. it will cost you. It will just cost you more money if you have to cut it. You have to pay someone to cut it, and once it's cut, they have to use a forklift each time they have to manipulate with that car part. So it'll just add costs. Try and get a car with a title that is in a movable state. It doesn't have to turn and drive. It would be perfect if it did, but if it doesn't, okay, just make sure it can be at least rolled so they can pull the car onto whatever they're pulling the car onto, trailer, container, whatever. So title, movable state. Those two things will save you a lot of money. My problem was, like mentioned, it wasn't in a movable state. I had a hell of a time finding someone to pick up the car and deliver it from Mississippi to New Jersey. It cost me a lot more, 3 times more than it would if the car was just in a movable state. If they could just push the car, it would have cost me 3 times less. Then I had to pay someone to cut the car, and like mentioned, each time they had to put the car in a container, take it out of the container, put it on a trailer. They had to use a forklift. All of that was extra expenses that I didn't account for. So those are the 2 main things. I can, from experience, tell you that the shipping company in New Jersey, TRT, they're really good. They're professionals. They don't charge a lot less than everybody else that I talk to. So if you're in that area, check them out. That brings me to the 3rd thing. Try and find a car close to your forwarding company, your shipping company. Use Copart. There's a ton of pages, but mainly Copart and auction type of pages where you can find a ton of cars, or just, in the Facebook groups, all kinds of Mustang groups. There's probably 100. I'm in like 20 or 25 of them, and there's cars being sold all over the place, all kinds of cars. And honestly, I would buy there first. That's where I bought my car. You can talk to people, you can see what the cars are about. Most cars are, they have aftermarket parts on them, which will save you money, so you don't have to buy them afterwards. Especially if you're from Europe, shipping any kinds of parts overseas is expensive. Buying them in Germany, or mainly Germany, is the only place where you can buy aftermarket parts for those cars. Their prices are ridiculous. They charge double of what the parts cost in the States, but in euros. So they're really ripping you off. So yeah, just try and go through the groups and find cars from folks who have something similar to what you want, because they're built engines, they're turbo builds, supercharger builds, NA builds. You can find all kinds of stuff for really cheap, especially since 2020 is at the door. New Mustangs are coming out. The old ones are just being thrown out. They're just being sold for nothing. So yeah, look that up. But make sure that you find a car that is close to where you will ship. That way you don't have to pay a lot to get the car there. That's your main concern, Yeah, those 3 things. Find a car that is close to your shipping hookup. Make sure it's in a movable state, and thirdly, make sure it has a title. Those 3 things will save you a ton of money. If you have any specific questions about the whole thing, feel free to to reach out to me, and I'll do my best to explain whatever you may want to know. Now, I'll cut this short. This video is already 12 minutes long. In the next video, I will go ahead and show you the dismantling process of the car, what all we had to do, pull out. I will show you the parts I had to pull out to hopefully, and I'm not really sure because nobody managed to give me an exact answer to the question what will avoid the activation of the PETS system, the anti-theft system from Ford. Now, I've asked a lot of questions about it, and I got a lot of answers. I just made a summarization of the parts that popped out the most and kind of made my own picture of what I needed. So I will show you the parts that you preferably want to have from the donor car to be able to avoid pets being triggered. Or you can simply get a ECU, send it out to have pets deleted, and that'll be it. Since I have, I believe, all the parts, I'm gonna try and we'll try to start the car without pets delete. If it still doesn't start, then I'll start thinking, about what I have to do. So we'll go through that. I will also let you know what other parts I bought, what's going to be upgraded, and I'll go through what I think you should upgrade whilst you're doing this type of work. Whilst the engine is out, whilst the transmission is out, what would be a good idea to do now? Because there are things that they're really easy to do now, like an hour's work, 2 hours work. If the engine transmission is back in the car, those 2-hour jobs turn into afternoon, whole day jobs. So there are things you might want to consider doing whilst the engine and transmission is out. Yeah, I'll just cut it short here, and I'll see you in the next video with a bit more tech stuff and more videos of the car, more pictures of the car, and yeah, we'll just take it from there. We're getting into the swap from now. You won't have to look at my shitty face anymore, and more car stuff coming. Stay tuned.